Hello everyone. I welcome you all to this next class of Key Concepts in Economy series. As you know, in this series, we are trying to decode some of the most important concepts in Indian economy from UPSC examination point of view. We have already had a couple of videos so far. We have discussed about things such as the different types of deficits that the government has, that the budget has. We've also discussed about the concept of GDP, NNP, national income, etc. I hope all of you have watched this. This is chapter number 3 of the series, and today we'll be discussing about monetary policy. What exactly is monetary policy? What are monetary policy tools that are used by the RBI? What are different types? What implications does it have on the Indian market? All this will be discussed in this lecture, so do watch till the end. But before we go ahead, just a quick reminder, this Saturday, 13th of December, will be the beginning of my course on my app. This is the Prelims 2026 Current Affairs course and test series. The aim of this course is to cover current affairs of 15 months before the prelims examination, starting with Feb 2025. The classes will be on weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. After each class, you'll also get the class recording and the PDF so that you can revise yourself. And at the end of every class, I'll have a 15-minute Zoom call as well so that you can ask any doubts that you were not able to ask in the class. The course will go on till the 3rd of May. Again, every week there will be 2 classes. At the end of the week, you will also have a test. After the course ends, we also will have 10 full-length tests, so that will act as your test series. This course will be on my app, Harshmeet Study Circle. You can download that from the Android Play Store. You can also find the link to download the app in the description of the video. I've also given my number and email ID there for all the other information. Let's begin then with the topic that we have, that is the monetary policy. Now, what exactly is monetary policy? In simple terms, the central bank, Reserve Bank of India, that is, has a responsibility of ensuring a consistency in money supply in the market, has the responsibility of maintaining inflation at an optimum level in the market. To do that or to fulfill these responsibilities, the RBI takes certain decisions which are termed as monetary policy. So their idea or their aim is to maintain price stability, to make sure that there are enough conditions for economic growth in the country. They are not aiming for one single target. They give themselves a range, but this entire shenanigan that they do, all these rates that they decide, all that is called as monetary policy. Now, who does it? What are the people behind it? The rates that we are talking about or the decisions taken by the RBI in this regard are taken by a committee called the Monetary Policy Committee. This Monetary Policy Committee came into being as a recommendation of the Urjit Patel Committee. It was established in the year 2016. Since 2016, it is working as a 6-member body that decides all these important monetary policy decisions. Who are the 6 members? 3 from the RBI, 3 from the side of the government. There is the RBI governor, who is the chairperson. There's the RBI deputy governor and an RBI official. So 3 people from the RBI. 3 people who are nominated by the government. They're outside experts. They have a 4-year term. All that's 3 RBI, 3 government. But in case of a tie in a certain decision, the casting vote will lie with the governor of the RBI because he is the chairman of the committee. Now, their primary responsibility is to target inflation in a certain range. The RBI has given itself a target of 2 to 6%. That is where we want our inflation to be. In other words, 4% plus minus 2%. So 2 to 6% is the range that they target through their inflation. And of late, they have been successful. When the inflation goes beyond that, either below 2% or above 6%, this is where the Monetary Policy Committee will look into it and will change certain policy stand. And this is where you will see changes in what you call as a monetary policy. Let's see what exactly happens within the monetary policy. The first component is what is called as a liquidity adjustment facility, LAF. This is RBI's way of determining how much money will the banks have in their hand. Understand this simple economics. How much money the banks have in their hand determines a lot in the economy. If the banks have a lot of money with them, it's a waste of their resource. How do the banks earn? They give you a loan and the interest that you pay to them is their earning. So it is in the interest of the banks to give as much loan as possible. So if the banks have a lot of money, they will be able to give a lot more loan. More loan means more money available in the market, so you'll be spending more. If today you have it very easy to get a car loan or a home loan, then you will be spending it. If it is very difficult for you to get a home loan or very difficult for you to get a car loan, then the consumption in the market will automatically decrease. So RBI, by deciding how much money should the banks have, can control whether economic activity would go up or would go down. If banks have too much money in their hand, they'll keep calling you, sir, take this free loan, take this free credit card, etc. So economic activity will increase. If RBI reduces the money supply with the banks, it will be difficult for you to get a loan and the economic activity will drop down automatically. Now, how does the RBI do that? By using something called repo and reverse repo. Now, what is repo and reverse repo? Repo here stands for repurchase. Imagine this. The bank, let's say State Bank of India, needs certain money. The first source from where they can get money is they can contact the RBI. They will tell RBI, bro, I need 500 crore rupees for some days. Can you please lend me? RBI will say, of course, I'll lend you the money. But in return, I want certain security. What if you run away? What if you don't give the money back? So I want certain security in return, guarantee kind of a thing, collateral. So what do the banks give? Banks give government securities. So government securities are transferred from bank to the RBI, and RBI in return will give cash. The bank then after a few days will give the money back to the Reserve Bank and take back the government security. So bank is in a way repurchasing its government security. The government security it gave to RBI, it is repurchasing that and it has to give a rate of interest to RBI. So if RBI, for example, let's say gave 100 rupees to the bank, RBI has to get more than 100. That is how they will earn. So if the banks take 100, RBI says when you give back, give me 106 rupees. So it will be 6% repo rate. That is RBI's way of earning. So now imagine what happens if if the repo rate is low. Repo rate is low means bank can get the money from RBI very easily. When they get the money very easily, they will distribute it very easily. People will get more money in their hand. On the other hand, if repo rate is increased, means it is difficult for the banks to get money from RBI. So banks will not give you the loan, economic activity will decline. That is how RBI tries to control this. Now reverse repo. Reverse repo is the opposite. Here, the banks are giving money to RBI and the RBI is giving government security in return. So it is reverse repo. Why will the banks give money to RBI? As I said, banks want to give money to someone because that is how they will earn interest. Either the banks give money to the people, to local people. But what if the banks are not finding anyone good in the market? They are not finding any good person to give a loan to any trustworthy person, but the bank still has to make use of that money. So they would rather give the money to RBI and RBI will give them some interest. This is called reverse repo. The reverse repo rate is always lower than repo rate because RBI is a daddy. Why will they give more rate of interest? So this is RBI's way of taking money from the bank. When banks have surplus money and they can park it safely with RBI, RBI will buy them or will give them government security and it will also give them a rate of interest. So at present, for example, as of November 2025, it was 4.9%. That was a reverse repo. Then we have open market operations. This is also something that the RBI does to maintain money supply in the market. Open market operations, simple term, means buying or selling of government securities. The RBI can buy or sell government securities from the market depending upon whether they want to increase or decrease the money supply. When the government sells government security in the market means RBI is taking money from the market. So you have 100 rupees of free, either you use it to buy something on Amazon or you give it to RBI and the RBI will give you government security in return. RBI will tell you, come back after 2 years, I'll return 120 rupees to you. So your money is being taken away. When RBI sells the government security, they are taking away liquidity from the market. On the other hand, if the RBI is actually buying government security basically means now RBI will give you the money and you give the government security to them. So RBI can control money supply in the market by selling and buying of security. Buying of security means RBI will pay the banks, there is more money in the market, get loan easier, spend more money. When RBI is selling the government security means RBI is taking money from the market, banks will have lesser money and liquidity is being absorbed from the market. Why will the RBI absorb or increase the liquidity? Because inflation is directly related to it. We believe that there is an inflation that is caused if there is too much money supply in the market. Then people have too much money in their hand, the demand increases, supply is not increasing. Because of this, the cost of the commodities will increase quite considerably. And that is why RBI decides to see how much money they should allow in the market. Then there's something called standing deposit facility. It was introduced very recently, 2022. See, the problem with repo and reverse repo is you can only take advantage of this in exchange for government securities. What if a bank does not have government securities? What if the RBI doesn't have government securities? Then can't you do transaction without that? You still can. For this, no collateral is required. This is kind of like reverse repo, but it does not require any collateral. No government security. It allows the banks to deposit funds with the RBI. So you can still deposit funds with the RBI, but RBI will not give you any government security in return. This is how HDF works. It is again used to absorb liquidity from the market, but RBI has made this change that unlike reverse repo, here no government security is exchanging hands. This is again important from the prelims point of view, because in the prelims you do see these kind of questions being asked. Now, these are certain real life scenarios of what will happen with a certain policy decision. So if there is rising inflation, RBI would want to take money out from the market. So what will they do? They will try and make sure that the repo rate is increased so that it becomes difficult for the banks to give you loan. If the RBI wants to see growth increase, if there's a growth slowdown, RBI wants you to spend more money, RBI wants the money to be available freely, then RBI will reduce the repo rate, tell the banks, take the money from me easily, spend the money or give the money as loans so people can also spend it. So that the RBI can give stimulus moving forward. This is how RBI can decide whether they want to increase inflation, they want to keep a check on inflation, etc. The goal is to keep it between 2 to 6%. This is what the RBI aims for. This is how all the decisions of the RBI, the Monetary Policy Committee, will impact all these sectors. It's important for you to understand these kind of questions are very easily asked in the prelims examination. As I told you, in economics, if you have your basics cleared, most of the prelims questions will be pretty easy for you to handle. These are not very complicated as long as you have a good hold on your basics. I'll be back with a new video. If you want me to discuss any specific topic from economics to clarify for you, do tell me in the comment section. I'll share this PPT in my Telegram channel as well. You can join. The link is in the description of the video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.